Hayesville, North Carolina, and we're at Studio 1891 Ink and Art, and we're lucky enough to have the owner, Joel Bauer. Joel, what is this place?
Well, it's a tattoo shop, but people get kind of confused when they walk in.
What have we got over here?
Well, we got a little bit of a collection. So when I bought the building, I realized that it was a little bigger than I needed for just my tattoo ink space.
Right.
So with my wife and I, we decided to put some of our collection that was probably just in storage, and there's a lot more in storage, by the way. So this is constantly changing. So we bring stuff in and give people something to look at while they're waiting or coming in off the square just to have more retail in Hayesville.
I got you. How long have you been at this location?
A little over 2 years in this building.
2 years, all right. And you bought it and you've totally redone it.
Yeah, it took us about 6 months or more to renovate the front of the building, the bathrooms. We changed it to a handicap accessible bathroom from two tiny little bathrooms.
Good.
Because I do have customers of all.
All right,
clients,
well, let's work our way around. What have we got over here?
Well, Catherine, my wife, she makes jewelry and makes stuff, and this is our little art studio spot, so we can paint, make a mess, because we can't really make messes over there.
Right.
per se. Right. This is where we can really get dirty as artists and create. That's not tattooing.
Very good. All right, is this where your clients?
Yeah, this is our little waiting area, and we have a bar for some people to wait at. Not a bar like there's alcohol per se, but a bar as in sitting and conversating and getting business done. Got a little waiting area for people, and keep the TV going on fun stuff, just as background.
Right.
And again, more collections. I paint saws. That started during COVID when they shut me down and I couldn't work for a few weeks, or a few months actually, just like any hairstylist or
trying to make a living.
Yeah, so I just kind of was bored, so I started painting on saws, and now I've done probably 40 or 50 of them. We sell them. I do custom ones for friends and businesses and give them away as gifts.
We did a video at Wing House.
Yes, Young Heroes Wing House. Yep, Adam.
Yep.
They got a few on display there because they like the vibe, and that's kind of my vibe is their vibe too. So.
Yep. All right, so they wait here.
Yep.
You tell me about the process. Someone comes in, do they normally say, I want this, or?
They usually know kind of an idea of what they want, and then I help them refine it into what they see in their head, hopefully is what I see in my head. Usually what I see in my head is a little more artistic than what they see, so they're usually really stoked about what we come up with design-wise. So they bring in a basic idea, and I always say, you bring the seed in and I'll grow it into the plant that you want it to be. But I need to know the kind of seed we're growing, if it's a wolf or if it's a...
Then you sketch it out.
Yep, we draw it together. I communicate with my client, and I do a rough sketch of how big and where it's going to be and what actual content is in it. And then from there I do another drawing, and this is all like in the first hour that they're waiting, you know. Then we do another drawing, make a stencil, slap the stencil on, and then rock and roll, buddy.
So let's say someone wanted one on their forearm.
Yes, sir.
Does what they have chosen affect where you want to place it, or do they come in and say, I want a wolf, and do you help them choose a place, or do they say, I want a wolf there? How does that work?
It would depend on, Rick, if you're my client, it would depend on the size. If you said, oh, Joel, I want a big wolf, then we're going to go to the bigger spot here, because visually it's just going to feel right. Something smaller and simpler, definitely smaller. Would go lower.
Do they normally tell you where they want it placed?
That kind of, yeah, we work that out with the size and the detail, because a certain amount of detail ages a certain way in tattoos. I don't know, we've all seen the people from our grandparents that had it was an anchor, but it looked kind of like a piece of broccoli or something, you know? Or the pinup girl that looked like, you know. So we learned that tattoos blur a little bit over time. So there's a certain detail at a certain size that's gonna really age well. And we've learned that, of course, in my 15 plus years being in the business. I've seen how stuff just ages, and if you do too much, it turns into...
All right. So you stencil it out, and they can look at how it will look, the location. That's it. If they want to move it.
Yeah, moving it's easy. That's their last chance. This is the plans of the house. This is the way we're going to build it.
Right.
We're breaking ground tomorrow.
So
today is the day to change.
I had it there. I move it to there. And there's the outline there. Then where do you go next?
Well, we would make sure you like it and the size and everything like that, and then we would outline it, which we were talking about earlier, which is the kind of making it a coloring book without color. So you have to have the lines, otherwise there's no edges to it, right? So we do the outline, that's the first process. Usually we take a little break after that, about 5 minutes. Then we come back and shade it and then color it, or just shade if it's black and gray.
Now, where do you do that?
That's all the same, yeah. It's a different setup. It's different like needle configurations. So.
All right. So your client comes in. Where does your client sit?
Well, it depends on if it's a leg or back, or we're going to say it's easy enough right now, right? The forearm or something.
Just a forearm.
And this would all be covered if this was.
Right. Sanitary.
Yeah, so have a seat.
But so you have legs and backs.
Yes, sides, legs, backs.
Okay, over there. But
Arms.
if it's a typical, you see a lot of sleeves.
Yeah.
Okay, so they would sit down.
Yep.
All right.
And actually, we can grab a stencil off the wall. Let's see what we got here. Oh, that's a little big for you, but I did an eagle the other day. So if this was the stencil, which this is not the stencil, and I'm not even gonna touch you with it, we would put it on, you'd stick it on, say, this is where I want it. You'd see it. I'd make you get up, look at it in the mirror.
Okay.
You'd ask your wife, because usually she's here to make sure.
Right.
Or your significant other. And so at that point, that's where it goes. And then you would have a purple outline that we would just, that's where the outline would come from.
All right.
And a lot of times, I keep these markers here because I'll freehand. I draw on people.
Okay. You get it the way you
want sometimes
it
to fit the body right, I need to draw it on. And the people understand that because they're gonna still see it drawn on, but it's not a pre-drawn stencil.
Sure.
That's where the custom comes in, because then they get to say, you just drew it on me. And
well, it's not just ink, it's art.
Yeah.
It's ink and art. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get it.
Definitely, and it's forever. So we take as much time before to make sure you're comfortable. And is this light messing you up? Sorry, I shouldn't.
Oh, that's fine.
I broke the wall.
That's fine.
But yeah, that's it. And then the process, usually they come back and get another one.
Well, tell me, okay, you have an outline and then you take the needle.
Yep. I'll put my glasses on usually.
All right, that's good.
Yeah, this is a setup which is not health department approved.
Right,
I did it just for this today.
Right,
yeah.
right. Well, this is just a show.
This is just a show. The needle goes in here. This tube is just to hold it. It's almost like a pencil, like the wood of a pencil.
So that's how you would hold
This
it.
is just to hold it. Again, this feels so weird to do this without gloves. Everybody knows.
You're normally gloved up.
Of course, everything's totally different than today right now.
Right.
So, yeah, and that's it. It makes a lot of noise, but it's just a negative positive, and it's just this little spring that makes the noise. And some of the newer machines don't even make noise. Some other ones I have.
And before we went on air, that is 1891.
Yes,
Tie
sir.
it together for me.
Okay, 1891 is a year, and that's the year that Samuel O'Reilly patented the electric tattoo machine. So he took Thomas Edison's engraving machine, which all he did is add a little ink reservoir at the bottom. So he took this great idea of a perforating paper machine, and when he came back from overseas, he had seen, they're tapping with rocks and sticks still, and he's like, this is America, we can do better than this, 1891. So that was December 8th, 1891. So he took and got a patent and just added an ink reservoir to that rotary machine, and that was it. The electric tattoo machine was born. And 15 years ago, when I started the business, it was my Plan B name. I thought I was gonna get a better name. I was like, I knew I'd have a better ink and ink masters or something really. I just knew I was gonna have a prophetic name, and I never got the prophetic name. So
I love this.
I already had the ink. I already had the .com. Nobody had ever used it. I think somebody in Europe now has used it once since I started it. But it's my patented name.
Cool,
and it's a little bit of history lesson if people ask.
Right.
Sometimes I say it's what I made on my SATs, but
Sure.
yeah, I don't even think you can get that high.
What's your most common tattoo?
Well, lately, I would say, big moments in life are life and death, things like that. So we obviously do a lot of memorial tattoos. I take those super seriously. We do a lot of talking before we come up with a design, because I really get into who is that person to you. And some people, they want to do the tattoo for the person who's gone. How are we representing that to you? You look at them and feel, how does that make you feel when you look at it? So there's a lot more emotion there than just a date when somebody was born and died. So that's changed a lot. And then birth flowers, because baby footprints and birth flowers and the celebratory stuff it's really a celebration of life, and then celebration of life when people aren't here.
How long does a normal, if there's such a thing as normal, or grab one and say, okay, this one took X amount of time?
Yeah, I mean, for instance, you're getting the sun and the moon, right?
Right.
I think if I remember, this one's got color, but we did the outlining, which is gonna take me about probably 30, 45 minutes. You're gonna get that 5-minute break just to stretch your legs and Get some water if you're thirsty.
Right.
And then a little bit of shading, that's another 20, 30 minutes. And then color, probably another 20, 30 minutes. I mean, a couple hours for something like this.
Okay.
With a couple
All
breaks
right.
in between. And it doesn't have, the tattoo machine does not stay on the whole time. So it would be like, I'm wiping, you're breathing.
All right.
I'm wiping, dipping, you're breathing.
I see what they call a sleeve.
Yes, sir.
How long? Tell us about that process. When I see someone who's got a complete sleeve.
Well, you're looking at, depending on detail. Some of them are a little
Right.
more detailed, so they're going to take longer because
Sure.
I can only get so much accomplished in one session. But that's usually, for me, it's a session deal, and my clients know that. We work on a section, 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 and we work our way down or up depending on what they want to see first,
Sure.
or if they're covering something or working with tattoos they already have. But it's a long-term process, few hours at a time, but I get a lot done in a couple hours.
Now, I understand that normally there's all kind of sanitary. You have everything covered and
Yes, sir.
everything. This is just for
Demo purposes.
demo
Yeah.
purposes only.
I should have drawn you up one. Now I'm really, I really should have had something drawn up and smacked it on you. So
Oh, that's okay.
Okay.
That's okay.
I mean, just in case.
Yeah. Now, 18 is the youngest.
Oh yeah, yes sir. 18 and up. There's no parents' consent. A lot of people think sometimes it's 16, 17-year-olds with parent consent. Florida and Alabama are the only ones in the Southeast that I know do that.
Okay.
We do not.
We're in North Carolina.
We're in North Carolina. Georgia was the same. South Carolina's the same.
Okay. What would you say is probably the oldest individual? I know you probably don't ask their name.
No, I told you earlier. I don't ask when it's over 80. I don't get into the times, but certainly 70s to 80s are almost common nowadays.
Oh, wow.
I mean, and it's partly our community, and
Right.
partly I think my word of mouth with the people that age that wow, you did that, and they're like, oh man, and the empowerment that they get is, oh, man, I'll never get another feeling off of anything else that I could do in life. I really couldn't.
I can tell you love what you do. Haven't
do.
talked off camera.
Yeah.
And you're passionate, and you really want to help people.
I love
you
people.
Genuinely,
Yes.
you care, the detail that goes into it.
I take it like it's an honor that somebody wants to collect a piece of my art, and then they want to carry it forever. So could you imagine?
Yeah.
Oh, you buy a piece of my art that hangs on a wall at a house
Right.
you might sell, or it goes into the dumpster
Right,
eventually,
right.
But this is. I mean, I tell the people, let's make sure this is what you want forever, because forever is a long time. If you have a bad tattoo, certainly.
Well, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier off air, you do a lot of cover-up tattoos.
Oh, yeah.
So tell me a little about cover-up tattoos.
Well, sometimes it's something they don't want to see. Sometimes it's something that the styles have changed,
Right.
and they want to just update it, maybe add some more color now,
Right.
or just. The funny thing about older tattoos is they do get a little blurry over 20, 30
Right.
years or stuff,
Right, right.
especially like we were talking about earlier if there's too much. So we can. It's like putting glasses on for the first time. I can tighten everything back up, and it comes back to clear, and has crispy edges. Otherwise we're covering up, Rose or whatever her name was.
So,
People really are in love when they're in love, but when they're not in love, they don't want to look at it. Or usually the guy could care less, but the next girlfriend doesn't want to look at Karen, So
so you help clean that up?
we help clean that up. And I always tell them, I say, it's still there. We just don't have to look at it because it's not going to be gone. It's there. I'm just camouflaging it into your past. Like one of those nights you don't remember. No, I'm just kidding.
All right.
Because sometimes they don't remember getting the tattoo, and then they every day since
Then
in
they
their
really-
in their 40s, and they're
Yeah.
like, when I was 25, what was I thinking?
Smart.
Yeah.
All right. So I've had the tattoo. You finished your work.
Yep.
What happened?
Clean it up.
Okay, you
was
clean
it.
it up.
Yeah, of course.
Then what normally happens?
Well, I'll wrap you up, and then we'll go over aftercare, how
when
to take
you
care
wrap
of
it up, what do you wrap it up with?
Well, lately I just use saran wrap. There's second skin. That's a thing people use that they keep it on
Okay.
there. Of course, bandages, depending on the area. If it's
Right.
an easy area, I'll just wrap it with saran wrap, and then you take it off within an hour, and it's just less pulling with like a tape or a
I got
skin
you.
kind of thing.
What is the? What do you send me home with?
Well, actually, my wife makes Aftercare from scratch here, and she puts a lot of love into it, and we have all the ingredients written down so everybody knows what's in it and what it does.
What does it do?
It's just going to help keep it moist and clean the top and keep that top layer skin from getting so dry while it's healing, because it's kind of like a sunburn
Right.
where you're going to just have a skin separation. The top's going to peel off. And that's it. It's really so superficial, but
I got you.
people are so worried about how they heal, and they're going to heal fine.
I understand.
They heal fine.
I understand.
The ointment just helps keep it lotioned up for the first week or two, and keeps it from being exposed to any germs and stuff. Yeah.
How long have you been doing this?
13 years in business, about 14, 15 tattooing.
All right. How many would you say you've done in all those years?
Upwards of 20,000 tattoos.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
That's a
crazy
lot of
when I think about it.
tattoos.
We just averaged it the other day. Like if I did a couple a day for every day, yeah, it's,
Right.
and I stayed pretty busy, so.
What are your hours of operation?
Noonish to 8ish, Tuesday through Saturday.
Tuesday through
Yeah.
Saturday. What are your bookings? How do you book?
You have to call or text the shop number, and I book about 2-3 weeks out, usually depending on unless it's tax season. Sometimes that's about a month or more out.
Okay.
So you want to plan a little bit before if you're getting a custom tattoo in a shop that's not a walk-in only shop. Because obviously some other shops you can just walk right in like a haircut at
Right,
Fantastic Sam's.
Right.
I would like to be more of a boutique where you come in and we spend the time together.
Smart.
It doesn't really cost anymore. It's just the way I want to do business
I understand.
with my client.
I understand. Joel, what kind of folks come into a tattoo shop?
Wow, this one, everybody. And then halfway in, they realize it's a tattoo shop, and sometimes they slowly back out, and sometimes they're super interested to ask questions because they found themselves in a tattoo shop, and it's not the normal headbanging music and da-da-da.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah,
I truthfully,
well,
when you
yeah.
emailed me, I thought, I would love to go and learn.
Yeah.
But what is your normal client?
Oh, man, 18 to 80. That's about it. And we have professionals. I tattoo the local sheriffs. I tattoo a lot of law enforcement. Nurses now. Erlinger's gotten a little tough since they moved in on some of their
Yeah.
policies, but they cover them up. Because guess what? It's long term, and if you want something, you want it.
I can remember I practiced with when I practiced law, a lawyer had a heart put on his chest.
Wow.
You see all kinds.
So that he had a heart. No, I got lawyer friends.
Oh, that's a good one. All right, that's good.
Anyway.
That's good. Joel, this has been a blast.
Okay, man,
I
yeah.
have learned so much. Thank you, brother.
Well, you're welcome anytime, Rick, and anybody else. Obviously, stop by and don't be scared. They're not that addictive, and they don't rub off that easy, And you have to make an appointment.
Yeah.
You're not just walking in. So.
Where do they make appointment online or call you?
Yeah, the Studio 1891 number is easy to find on Facebook or online,
Yeah.
or text the shop number.
Okay, very
So
good.
Catherine usually gets back with them if she doesn't answer right away.
All right.
And then she makes all my appointments, and I show up and work. And it's great because it's way easier as an artist to be able to focus on the art and not the business side of it, because I like business, but I like people more.
Yeah, I understand. Thank you for watching.